supply chainers, wherever you are in the world. This is Sarah Barnes-Humphrey with you today. Are you ready? Let's talk supply chain. Hello, everyone, and happy Tuesday. Welcome to Thoughts and Coffee. My name is Sarah Barnes-Humphrey. I am the founder of Let's Talk Supply Chain, founder and host of Let's Talk Supply Chain, the Blended podcast, as well as the nonprofit Blended Pledge. And I am really excited to be back with you this week. Last week, I took a much needed vacation. I feel like I haven't done that in years because of the pandemic, and it was definitely well worth it. We got some sun, we had some beach time, and so I hope you guys are enjoying your summer as well. But of course, we just heard from Fastenal, who's sponsoring Thoughts and Coffee. We cannot do this show without our sponsors, so Emerge is also proud to partner with Thoughts and Coffee to elevate our combined focus on empowering and growing meaningful relationships in the freight industry. The first and only freight-specific RFP platform, Emerge is reinventing freight procurement by offering solutions that enhance the spot and contract procurement process, enabling shippers to make the most strategic decisions possible, saving invaluable time and enhancing productivity. Learn more at emergemarket.com/thoughts and coffee. All right, we've got a lot to get to this week. We've got a brand new Woman in Supply Chain episode. Now, if you guys haven't heard of Margot Waldy, you need to go check her out on LinkedIn. Plus, you need to go check out her newest episode on Let's Talk Supply Chain in our Woman in Supply Chain series. It's episode 280, wherever you subscribe to the show. We talked all about her journey. She talks a lot about sales and leadership. She has her own live show as well. So I would highly recommend to go and check out her journey on our podcast and then go and connect with her over on LinkedIn as well. Next, we also have our Woman in Supply Chain blog. So I don't know if you guys have gone to check this out recently, but we have just had Melissa Drew on our Woman in Supply Chain blog talking about AI and closing the gender gap in supply chain. And she is going to be my guest on Thoughts and Coffee next week. So go and read up on it. Make sure to come back to Thoughts and Coffee next Tuesday with all of your questions for Melissa, because we're definitely going to be able to ask her all of those questions as well. And then I want to do a really big shout out to Mercado Labs. And first things first, they have a live show. Rob Garrison hosts it every single month, and they donated to Blended. I think it was yesterday. They did some giveaways on their show, and they named some recipients, and the donations went to the Blended Pledge. So want to do a shout out. Really want to say thank you for that. And then we've got some really exciting upcoming events happening this week. So if you want to know about demand-driven planning, a new planning paradigm for resilient supply chains, come and join me tomorrow. So we're going to be back here live at noon Eastern for kind of like a lunch and learn. We've already got 143 people signed up to attend this event, because I'm going to be talking to the CEO, Eric Bush, of Demand Driven Technologies, and Yvonne from PwC over in Italy. We had our run through this morning, and you guys are in for a treat. We've got a lot of really good stuff to talk about. And then on Thursday, I'm going live again with HubTech. So HubTech is doing a webinar, and AJ is going to put the link to register for that webinar. We're going to be talking about all sorts of things in that discussion on Thursday. So go and check it out. Join me. I'm going to be hosting that discussion with HubTech and Cargo Chief, and really, really, really good information there as well. And then I don't know if you guys noticed, but we had a brand new show launch last week about last mile with FarEye. So the title is Special Delivery with FarEye, and we had so much amazing comments. So to everybody who joined us for that particular show, Thank you so much. We had a really, really great launch, and they're going to be back every single month. So definitely go and check that out. And if you missed it, you can go to the Let's Talk Supply Chain YouTube page and check it out. I told you there was a lot of things happening. But now, without further ado, we're going to be bringing up our guest for this morning. She is the fabulous Audrey Ross, who took over for me last week so that I could get a true week's vacation. And I want to say thank you and welcome to Audrey Ross. Hello.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you? Thank you so much for hosting last week. I heard your discussion with Daniel was so much fun. I wish I could have watched it. I didn't watch it, but I wish I could have watched it. But we had so much great feedback. Did you have a good time?
Yeah, it was fun. Daniel's great. He's just an exporter here. He had a great pivot through the pandemic. Just a really entrepreneur mindset, like level up kind of guy. So it was a great conversation.
Good. So for everybody who doesn't know you,
sure.
do your short introduction.
Doing a little spiel. So I'm Audrey Ross. I'm here in Toronto. I'm an import and export compliance manager at Orchard Custom Beauty. We're a private labeling cosmetic company that specializes in beauty tools, cosmetics, and bath accessories.
Love it. And I think your CEO was just on a podcast, right?
Yeah, Jennifer was just on a packaging podcast. I've got it up on my LinkedIn. So yeah, Jennifer Raphael, our CEO, she had a great conversation, sort of talking about, our sustainability efforts and our packaging, innovative products, but also a little bit about her journey and how she kind of became a CEO, because she kind of, she started like me, sort of, at the beginning and sort of worked her way right to the top. So. That's a great one.
I love it. Go and check that out. We don't have the link for you, but maybe go and DM Audrey and she'll send you the link, or go look at Audrey's post on LinkedIn. Anyways, I want to say hi to Waldemar Mohammed. Cargo Margo is joining us for this morning. Hopefully you caught my shout out for your episode this week. Yeah, she did. And Kelly is joining us this morning over on my personal LinkedIn as well. So I want to share something with you before we get into the articles and different things like that. So I saw this. You guys all know that I like The Hustle. I read The Hustle, like their newsletter every single morning. This came up in The Hustle, I think, that they posted or came out with it yesterday. It says the Port of LA gets hit with something like 40 million cyber attacks every single month, mostly from Russia and Europe. It's the West's busiest port and moves $250 billion worth of goods every year. It says literally doesn't sound stressful at all. Well, I mean, welcome to Supply Chain, The Hustle. I think everybody could really relate to that. But I thought 40 million cyber attacks. I mean, it's just something that I think the supply chain community needs to think about, because if they're getting 40 million, and we've seen cyber attacks over the last couple of years kind of cripple freight forwarders and things like that, it's really something that we need to pay more attention to, I think. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. And like something like the ransomware, I mean, it is... I know a company who went through it, and it's like you have to shut everything down. Your employees cannot work for a period of time. You're trying to negotiate with some random international who knows who. So certainly I've seen a lot of comments around, I think we've all been sort of stuck in this, shipping and logistics and supply chain sort of crises, and it's certainly distracting us maybe from some of the preventative measures that we need to take on cybersecurity, because it is such a development.
And that is something. So you guys, I'm going to be featured on BBC World like Friday morning, really, really early Eastern time, but like in the UK, it's going to be about 5:30 their time this week. And those are some of the things that I'm going to be talking about, right? Around weaker demand and what that actually means for us. It's kind of a relief, right? I think everybody's like, oh my goodness, what's going to happen because of weaker demand? And we're kind of like, we might be able to take a breath. So catch me on BBC World. Super excited about that. But the other thing that I wanted to mention is that Hershey just came out and said that they're not going to be able to meet Halloween demand. I mean, this is a crisis, people. I thought the cream cheese shortage was a crisis with like 260 million people affected. But like, this is Halloween candy. So they've had to make a decision on their manufacturing lines whether to keep up with the regular chocolates or, I guess, candy that they, churn all the time versus the specialized Halloween candy. And there just might not be enough this year. I mean, what is this world coming to?
It's like there's crises in some products, but then other ones it's like there's too much. And there's been no uniformity, there's no consistency. It's just like these random like, oh, we don't have this. And you're like, okay. And it's like, but we do have this. You're like, but I don't want lawn furniture for Halloween. I want the chocolate. So
there's so many weird shortages and then so many
surpluses and yeah.
Welcome to Supply Chain 2022. Anyways, all right, let's get to our poll of the week. So we asked you guys last week, what's the best email sign off? So 48% of you said thanks. 22% of you said best wishes and warmest regards. 14% of you said sincerely, and then 16% of you really needed to comment below and let us know your email sign up, which I thought was amazing because like people are thinking about these things, and really putting some time and effort into it. I don't know if anybody has gotten a message from me on social media or through email, but I always sign off with, and I think I'm kind of known for this now, is to our success. So that's actually mine. It's kind of my favorite, and that's how I sign off my emails. What about you, Audrey? What did you think about this?
I thought it was great because and I think there's cultural differences. Like we deal with a lot of different people globally, but I also do think like people pick up on trends. Because I used to say kind regards all the time, and then I've moved into thank you.
Yeah.
So I think it changes. I find warmest is something that I would only save for someone like that I know. I find it's a little bit more like super personal. Mm-hmm. So if I saw that from someone who I'd like never met, I'd be like, really? So I think authenticity plays a role into it. And depending on who you're talking with, you might be kind of gearing your tone a bit differently, but yeah.
And Lorena is going to borrow it. So wait before you do that. I need to go and trademark. No, I'm just kidding. I love it. Go right ahead. And so, yeah, we had a lot of great comments. People really, somebody said, Jonathan said, I don't trust anyone that signs off with cheers. Best regards. Selena said happy reading because she works with books. Marianne said continued success, so kind of along the same lines as mine. Audria, who has joined us on my personal LinkedIn as well, she's using mostly kind regards as well. So just a lot of really, really great information from everybody. I want to say thank you to everybody who participates in our poll of the week. We always love, going through the comments and seeing what everybody has to say. Just love all of that. Also going to say hi to Andre. Andre is joining us on my personal LinkedIn as well. All right. The one last thing I want to say is that I am going to be emceeing the digital event of the Supply Chain Insights Global Summit. So I'm going to be in Washington at the in-person event. I'm going to be emceeing the digital event September 6th through the 8th. And we had a meeting on this yesterday. We've got so many really, really cool things that are going to happen at this event, not only in person, but also digitally. And we're also going to be giving away some time with Laura Ciceri. And so you might want to register as soon as possible because I know that there's limited slots and we want to make sure that we get everybody who wants to be there to get in. Plus, we're going to be doing it in Washington. I've never been to Washington. So what are like the top 3 things I need to go see while I'm there? Because I know you've been.
Lincoln Monument. Okay. One of the Smithsonian's, the Air and Space isn't open right now. I don't think it won't open till the fall, so I missed that this spring. But that is like my top choice every time. But there's a wealth of Smithsonian's. The portrait gallery. Okay. The portrait gallery is so good. I don't know if the Obamas are back into the portrait gallery, but the portrait gallery is so cool. So much stuff to do in Washington. Oh my gosh. And good food. Such
Okay,
good food.
so I need some restaurant recommendations. So if anybody has been to Washington, has any recommendations, send me a DM. Don't flood my DMs, but send me a DM because I'm super open, never been there before, definitely want to experience it. And so if you want to register for Imagine for the conference, AJ is going to put the link in the comments for you right now so you can go and check it out and see if you can come and join us because it's going to be a fun time. Like we're even doing a virtual run. I mean, I won't be on a treadmill, but some people will be on a treadmill because it's going to be too early. But anyways, all right, let's get to our supply chain articles for the week. What are we talking about? So the first one, I thought this one was really, really cool. So 5 ways to use social media in supply chain management. And Audrey, I need you to put your Twitter hat on because I need to know all the ins and outs of Twitter and how this actually works on Twitter because I use it, but I'm not, I don't use it as much as you do. And I think Twitter is a really, really good place for this. But what they talk about is turning to social media to learn about your clients so that you can improve. So not only consumers, but they're also talking about B2B brands, which we haven't really talked about. I mean, I've been talking about it, but this article outside of that talks about it. And she gives some really, really, really good tips. So transparency when you're responding to people, be honest. Offer a different product and a reason why that product might work for them. Empathy, they said move it to a private chat. They also said to link to content. So I want to, raise the bar for Let's Talk Supply Chain. We're here if anybody needs some content to provide with your social media exchanges when you're talking to clients and sort of providing them with solutions or information or things like that. I just thought it was really, really, really good article because she also gives examples of how to respond to somebody. And so if you're unsure how to respond, like if they have maybe a negative connotation and you're unsure how to respond, she's got examples in this article. So Audrey, I know I've just said a mouthful. Take it from here.
Yeah, I think it's key, and you get a wealth of information media from your customers and from people who interact with you. And not a lot of companies tap into that very well. And certainly if you're having complaints or things like that, deleting people's comments and not addressing them authentically and honestly is certainly going to cause a lack of, tell the truth, a lack of trust. People right now are having a lot of trust issues and control issues, and there's been a lot of uncertainty as we had sort of, as we're exiting this pandemic, and the less, people pick up on that inauthenticity. So use the tools that you have available, but actually listen and engage with what's right there.
Yeah, I think you can also use humor. Like we've got the shirt hashtag supply chain issues. I mean, you could get the Let's Talk Supply Chain hashtag supply chain issues shirt and maybe do some fun pictures with people in your office, send those over and be like, hey, we're all experiencing supply chain issues, but we really hope that your product's going to get there by, X, Y, and Z, or we're trying really hard and this is why, this is what we're doing type thing.
But I think people, you can't set, if you set an expectation, you don't meet it. Like the communication has to be there. Don't tell people it's like, oh yeah, your package is overnight. Oh yeah, it's in stock. Our friend Sarah Scudder's been dealing with this.
Yes.
Oh, it's in stock. Well, it's not in stock because if it was in stock, it would be here within the week that you said you'd send it. So I think the communication piece is really, really, really key. Like, don't get people excited about something. Like, just be honest. Be like, it might be 3 weeks. And then people can make their assessment from there. And I think it's an unfairness almost because now someone's committed to something and they had an expectation that you really probably couldn't meet, and why you're still, you maybe just have stock language on your website. You're not kind of, being proactive about your communication. That's the key. Don't set the expectation and then not deliver.
Yeah. And don't just post on social media, be active, with those, with the people that are taking the time to actually write it, whether it's a complaint or whether it's something that they're celebrating you for. I mean, at the end of the day, they're taking time to do that, and you can learn so much from that interaction. Anyways, I thought that was really cool. Obviously, we've got the article in the comments, so go and check it out. Lots of really, really good information. So our second article for today is about Tesla and Elon Musk. I don't know. I've kind of heard enough about him with the whole Twitter thing, and I'm kind of waiting to see what happens there. I mean, is he the new owner? Is he not? Anyways, but that's besides the point. That has nothing to do with supply chain. But he is rewriting the software, or his team is rewriting the software to get around chip shortages. He's calling the team Chip Drama Central, which I thought was really funny. And what they found in doing this is they actually had too many chips to begin with that they didn't actually need. So an average electric vehicle has 3,500 chips per car. Now, it doesn't say in this particular article how many chips they've been able to reduce it by. So that might be something that, if anybody has a connection to Elon, ask them and let me know. But it would be interesting to see. I mean, because of the chip shortage, they were saying there's $210, I think, $billion were lost in revenue for the car companies last year. And so it's a really, really big deal. But the last thing he says in this article is if suppliers won't solve this problem, we will. Elon Musk.
Yeah.
So what did you think about this one?
I think it's very entrepreneurial, right? You've encountered a challenge and you just work around it. And I don't know, I would imagine it's technical innovation. Part of the article talks about how they want to use fewer chips and increase their functionality, which, why wouldn't you want to do that? Especially since a lot of these, maybe not in this case, but a lot of these chips are made from like rare earth materials. They're not, they're not renewable resources necessarily. So maybe we should be treating these as a little bit more valuable and really, utilizing the full functionality of what it's capable of. Or maybe find a workaround so that you're not, reliant on a supply chain that's stressed and maxed out. But you can see, a CEO is going to get their product to market.
So it's interesting that you say that, because they actually said in this article that they're not releasing any new vehicles this year. They're really focusing specifically on the innovation so that they can release those cars next year, because obviously the chip shortage is not helping with the releasing of the product. And so they're focusing on the innovation, spending the money on the innovation, and then they'll release new product next year.
And that's a whole other issue that goes back to the first article about communicating expectations to customers who may be on wait lists for these cars for significantly longer than they expected.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. On Thoughts and Coffee. If you have an order in for a Tesla, you might be waiting till 2023 because they got some innovation issues. Anyways, all right, our third one is about supplier diversity. Now, everybody knows that I like to talk about diversity and inclusion, and I love to talk about diversity and inclusion with Miss Audrey as well. So what caught my eye on this one, and it's really funny because there's a Hershey's ad at the top of this article, and we just talked about how they're not going to be able to meet Halloween demand. Anyways, besides the point. I really like this article because they talked about how PepsiCo has actually had a supplier diversity program for 40 years. So they started in 1982 with $5 million being allocated to their supplier diversity program. Now they're up to $1 billion a year. And they've made obviously huge inroads with a lot of that money, and they've spent it in a variety of ways. But what they've also found is that the certification process can be too hard and too consuming for small businesses. So what they're working to do is remove some of those barriers, spend the money to make the certification process just that much easier. Right. And so I thought that was interesting, right? They're obviously expanding the program, making sure that they're working with diverse suppliers, but then they're also working on the program and the way that people actually get in to work with PepsiCo to make it easier. Because one of the things that I've always talked about supplier diversity is we do need to make it easy, right? We can't have huge contracts that they've got to spend thousands of dollars with a lawyer. They're just not going to do it. you know, and as the more we can make it as easy as possible, the more we're going to see more diversity in suppliers. What did you think about this?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a unique program. I think they're tapping on some of the key issues with the barriers to entry or the barriers to scale and growth.
Yeah.
In a similar way that Sephora's also has a really strong diversity program. There's a couple of other companies who are kind of leading in this, but PepsiCo really does address those barriers because they're significant. When you have a 3, 5, 10, 15 person company and you're going to fill out hours worth of forms and you're going to make these applications. Even when I was doing some export grants applications, like they're very burdensome.
Oh,
It
I
is
know.
time because the language that they use, you're like, oh my gosh, how many times do I have to tell you what I'm trying to? I just want to sell
Well,
shit.
that too. Yes, I have filled out so many grant applications. It's so true. It's like I read the question. I'm like, didn't I just answer this? Like 2 or 3 times?
And different, but I felt like I had to word it differently every time because, like, is that how you get the money? Like, what happens? So I love the PepsiCo's like really specific, and they have sort of an action plan on it. And you can also see, they are presenting their metrics for, how many, which type of companies they've been supporting, how many dollars have gone into this, and then giving, sort of giving the honesty on what the hurdles are for these businesses.
Yeah, well, they also give a link to work with PepsiCo as well. And so I've actually taken down the link because I'm going to reach out to them to see about the blended pledge because they are also, expanding their reach as to where the money is going and how they're distributing that. And so hopefully we can work with PepsiCo on the blended pledge. And if anybody has a contact there, reach out.
Yes, please.
Send it over. Anyways, I just realized that we don't have the follower of the month for today. So we are going to have the follower of the month for next week, and we will let you know. And we will also post about that next week as well. And that's for the follower of the month for July. And you get the mug, either I like to move it, or the supply chain management one. So super excited to see who was the most engaged with us in July. And we will mention that next week. Now, before we go, I do want to talk about some of the events that we have coming up and the ones that I'm going to be participating in. So the Hub Tech and Cargo Chief webinar that I spoke about at the top of this show, that's this one. And then, of course, LinkedIn Live tomorrow at noon for a lunch and learn about demand-driven planning. Definitely come and see us. I would love to see you in the audience. We want audience participation with comments, and we're going to be putting you up on the screen and things like that. We've now got that new show called Special Delivery with Far Eye. That's happening the last Thursday of every month at 10 a.m. Eastern. We've got Imagine, like I mentioned earlier, in Washington, September 6th through 8th. Would love to see you either digitally or in person. This is going to be a really, really cool event. Plus, I'm going to be at Home Delivery World. So if you're in the Philadelphia area, I am going to be there August 31st through September 1st. I'm going to be on stage with X Delivery. I'm also going to be recording podcasts on site as well. So it's going to be really, really fun. I think we've got a code. If you want to go and you want a code to get in, there is a code right here, but I think we might have another code. Just reach out to me and let me know. Of course, we've got Manifest coming up in January as well. Action items with DC, that's happening next Friday. We've got Log Tech Live this Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern. No bullshipping at the end of every month with Hope White. And of course, we've got Procurement Foundry Forge happening November 2nd and 3rd in Vegas. And I'm super excited about that one. And I go straight to Atlanta from there, which I will announce soon. I don't have the graphics and all of the information about it. But once I have the information, I'll let you know what event that's going to be. And I think even in October, you and I are looking to go to a Women in Logistics event as well. That's not finalized, but I'll let you know as well. And so Larry says, head over to the head office of Chain.io in Philadelphia. Larry, Brian, and I already are getting together for dinner. So I'll definitely be checking out and saying hi to the Chain.io gang. Anyways, so it was great to see all of you. I'm super excited to be back. We have a jam-packed month. We've also got Intermodal Live that's happening twice this month. We are going live August 11th. We're also going live August 18th. Those are in the 2 p.m. Eastern slot. And we're going to be talking about all about intermodal. There's a lot of changes going on, especially with everything that's going on with the U.S. government, that you're definitely going to want to check out, because that affects everything in the U.S. domestically. And so you're going to want to join us for that. Once we have the registration link, we'll definitely be posting that and mentioning it on Thoughts and Coffee as well. So next week, we've got Melissa Drew. She's coming on as a guest. We're going to be talking about AI in supply chain and all sorts of amazing things. She's great, so I can't wait to introduce you to her. And Audrey, as always, thanks for joining me today. And to everybody in the audience, thanks for joining us for Thoughts and Coffee.
That was fun. Thanks for